Welcome, guys. Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob.
Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob. Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob. Buckeye Rob.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob. I am your host, Rob Ashby. Episode 3, welcome in. If you want to get in contact with the show, you can do so with contacting us on Twitter or Instagram at Talkin Ball WBR, or you can shoot us an email at talkinballwbr@gmail.com. Any coaches out there, you're watching, you're listening, if you want to be on the show, shoot us an email. We'd love to have you on the show. On today's show, we're going to start out with the Coach's Corner. It's a segment we like to do. We would call coaches in and talk about their program, talk about their players and their staff, talk about their games and their schedule, and whatever the coach wants to talk about. So we'll start out with the Coach's Corner. After that, we'll move on to the Roundtable. We're going to have a powerhouse Roundtable today. Got Mark the Shark back tonight, and we got Jim Reggio back. So we're going to do that, and after that, I will reveal my Player of the Week. And I'm also going to have a top performer for the first 2 weeks of high school football here in Southern California. So I'm looking forward to doing that. What I've seen, I found this guy last night, and what he's done is quite remarkable. So I'm sure these guys will have something to say about it. So let's get started. My introductions, coach for the Coach's Corner. To my right, we got Manuel Lemus, the DC from the Chaminade Eagles. Welcome to the show, Manny. We got head coach of the Burbank Bulldogs, Mr. Adam Coleman, and back by popular demand, head coach from Montclair Cavaliers, Martin Bacon. Welcome into the show, guys. Appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Coach Coleman, let's start with you.
All right.
Burbank Bulldogs. As you all know, I'm affiliated with the Burbank. How was Thursday night Friday morning waking up after that Thursday night game?
Friday morning was rough. Going teaching Algebra 2 was not the first thing on my mind. It was nice to wake up with a win at least.
Yeah, it is. After we had that 45-yard field goal to stop us at the end of the first game, that wasn't pleasant. So
no.
I want to start with you. Let's go back to your playing career.
Okay.
I want to go back and start there. Quarterback at Burbank, 2009, 10?
Mm-hmm. 9, 10, 8, 9, 10.
Graduate in 2010?
Graduate 2011, so 2010 football season, yeah.
Okay, so how, first of all, relating to coaching, how is it to coach at your alma mater?
It's fun.
Is that something you wanted to do?
I always kind of knew I wanted to get into coaching. I didn't know when. Maybe when I have a family, coach my kid kind of thing. I stopped playing football after high school, and then kind of slowly got that itch to get back involved. And
okay. Well, when did you get? How many years after you were done playing football? How many years did you get back into coaching?
It was my senior year in college, so
UCLA grad, right?
Yep. So
UCLA.
I was doing that commute from Westwood my senior year while working, and then the year before, so 3 years out, I was going to pretty much every game, and I was talking with the coaches still, and they. When I was in school, we didn't have Huddle or anything. We'd get like CDs and watch the game on DVD. But like I was always into breaking down film. So once the Huddle was a thing, I got on that, and I'd be texting the coaches during the week. I love talking ball. I love talking about like, what's your game plan? What are you guys thinking? So I started going to every game for that year before. Coach Meredith, our Frosh coach, coached me. His son was the quarterback, and I remember when I played for him, he was just always there. And like if we had defensive practice, you'd be like, all right, Adam, you and Ryan, you go play catch with him while we do defense. You don't play defense. And so I was like, man, that little kid's a starting quarterback now. Like, I'm gonna go support this kid. I remember him. So yeah.
Yeah. So that was around the time all four of us were on the same coaching staff.
Yeah,
that's right.
And so you were the newcomer that came in. I remember you came in like halfway through the season, right? Were you there? You weren't, because you weren't there in the beginning of the season.
Well, that
would be 2013.
2013 team. I wasn't on the staff, but I was at pretty much every game. I think I showed up to a few practices here and there. But I wasn't like officially a part of the staff. And the next year I came on.
early on, we figured you're fired for coaching when you came onto the field and kicked that flag, and the referee didn't like that. I don't know if you remember that,
I
Bacon.
don't remember that.
You remember that? Was that the
game was
Burrows
that?
game?
That was the Burrows game.
That was the Burrows game.
That's
So
at the end.
everyone gets heated when we play Burrows.
Yeah. Surprised to let me back on the field after that. But.
So that after 2013, you came on. You started helping the quarterbacks. Were you named the quarterbacks coach next?
No, so I had reached out to Brew and Summy, our quarterback coach, and said, I want to come and help out, but I don't want to get in the way. Like, I know you already have a quarterback coach. I know assistant quarterback coach isn't really a common position at a high school. As I want to help out. And obviously, like I said, I knew Ryan since he was younger. And I reached out to Meredith, his dad, who's on the staff. It's like, hey, I want to help out, but I don't want to get in the way. Would you be comfortable with that?
Did you know a lot of the kids? Because that was been a couple of years since you left.
Yeah, so I wasn't friends with any of them anymore, which was nice. It was good to get separation.
Yeah.
But I had known Ryan since he was young, and I had known a couple other kids. They'd be our water boys growing up. At the games, the little Vikings kids. So there's a lot of I remember you. Had some younger brothers, the Hunters. I played with the older Hunter.
Okay.
One of them, and so his little brothers on the team, that kind of thing.
So what is it about coaching that you love? What made you get into coaching after you were graduating from UCLA and you said, you know what, I want to get back into coaching? Like me, I was away for quite a long time, and then I just coached. I emailed Coach Valencia and said I want to coach high school football. Is that kind of what you wanted to do, or is it?
A little bit. I always loved the game. I love breaking down film, X and O's, but really what it was the environment. And I was working at a drug and alcohol rehab center. I was a psych major. I was going to get into therapy, and that in itself is a whole other story. But the place I worked at, I didn't love the people I worked for necessarily. It was more of a boss than, like a mentor or something. I felt like when I played, Brew and Summy and some other coaches really mentored me, and I felt like a part of it. I felt important and cared about. And so I wanted to get back into that, being excited to show up for work and being a part of something bigger. I'm an only child. My parents are both from the Midwest, so I have literally no family out here. So growing up for me, sports was my family. That's how I.
Yeah, you touch with that with the kids on Burbank, that they are your family. Other than your parents. So that gives us a family atmosphere around the team. And,
and that's why I preach it it's coming from the heart. Why I got into coaching. That was why. So.
Okay, so let's go back. So Coach Brew becomes head coach in 2014. Does he make you quarterbacks coach? No, so
I was assistant quarterbacks coach. Somebody's still on board
until Summy's on board.
So Ryan's came on. I think he just set the school record for passing touchdowns, led the team to the semifinals. He's coming back, and obviously Summy's quarterback coach.
You got to feel like you had something to do with that. You're sitting there helping too.
I try to help with that. I'm coming on board. I'm new to this.
We all know good Summy is too. But.
Yeah, Summy's the man. And so they're kind of you know what? Ryan's good. You probably don't need to help too much, but we, help the sophomore. He's gonna be on JV. He's gonna be all right. Guy Gibbs, little kid. Go work with him. He'll be your project. We'll see how you do. Earn your stripes there. And then at the end of the first game, Ryan hurts his ankle, and all right, guy, you got to play varsity.
He's a sophomore.
I think I was as scared as guy going into that game, and I was like, oh God, I'm gonna get fired if this kid messes up.
Was he ready? Do you think he was ready? But
he stepped up. I had the same conversation with our sophomore before the Dos Pueblos game. You're never really ready, at that position especially.
No, until you get
never
in there.
Ready until you take that first hit. You're out there.
So let's fast forward. 2016 we go to the CIF title game. We lose in the finals, and Coach Brew actually leaves. Head coach as Burbank, and your name is immediately thrown in to be head coach. How's that? So that right there, is that the beginning of, oh God, I'm going to be could I be head coach of my alma mater?
It was weird. I remember in mid-season when Brew kind of told me what might end up happening at the end of the year. And I was kind of the only one who knows it. Don't tell anyone, but just so you know, because we're close. I started being man, I love coaching here. And I remember, sitting when Brew said he was leaving, sitting with the staff and kind of looking at each other and being we don't want this to stop, And I was the one coach that was a teacher on campus. That's important thing for a head coach, especially in Burbank. They really like having that person there every day. So it just kind of seemed like, well, you probably got the best shot since you're already on campus as a teacher.
So you basically just step right in and take over.
Semi-reluctantly,
pretty much what we've been running in 2016. You step in and just continue what we do in 2017.
Yeah, luckily we had a great foundation built. I didn't have to try to rebuild anything. It was just don't mess it up, basically.
So we come off that finals run and we lose a lot of seniors. We lose a lot of guys that play together for years and years.
Yeah.
And what's 2017 look like for your first year?
So 2017 was fun because I had been the JV head coach the year before, and I really loved that team, and I got really close with them. You were the DC that year, yeah.
Yeah, we
and that was a fun group, and so I was excited about them, but they hadn't much varsity experience, and they weren't, that senior class that left, I think, was 10-0 as freshmen. Like, they were awesome from the get-go. That JV team I coached struggled a little bit more as freshmen, so they weren't, they developed more than just came in ready to go. I remember people telling, I don't know, Lemus, if you remember the conversation we had at BJ's by the bar that year, but I came in okay, let's go win league. We got some of our top players back, and I remember Lemus pulled me like, all right, Adam, I love your energy, I love your your enthusiasm and that you want to do good, but you're still young to this, and you got to really set your expectations. Don't go crazy now. We just graduated like 25 guys. Tame your expectations there. I was like, I don't know, man. I just feel like there's something special about this group, and there was. Like, it was just a special group.
Yeah, I think as you were telling me that my glass broke.
Yeah. I mean, sitting down and like that was.
Sign,
yeah.
We roll into 2017 and. We got, we lost a quarterback, but we got a pretty good quarterback coming from the JV team, and Matty Porras.
Matty was special.
And we had some other dudes on that team, Eric Artunian and Duncan Smith.
Duncan, Drew, Chad,
Penley. We had some dudes on that team, and we came into that. I don't even think we were picked to win league. We weren't even picked to do anything in that year.
We were probably at best third. Yeah.
Which is
CV was really good.
Yes.
Arcadia was really good that year.
Yeah, I mean the league, the Pacific League was really good that year, and when I come out of that and I think of 2017, you look back, it's over the last 10 years. It's obviously it's one of the best teams we've had in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
and especially with the expectations going in, we come out and we actually win the league that year, and which I want to refer back to your playing days. How many times has Burbank won the Pacific League?
Twice.
Twice, and one was in your first year playing quarterback, and one was your first year being head coach. How was the correlation there?
It's funny symmetry there, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but both those teams, like being a player on one, coach on the other, there's just something special about them. Like, you hear people talk a lot about like being better than the sum of your parts, and I feel like both those teams did that. Like, if you look at each individual player, they're probably not the most talented teams we've had at Burbank. But I think they played to a level above their individual talents, and were able to achieve something special, which is what made it really fun.
Yeah, we made a deep run. We went to the semis that year, and that's the year we lost to Don Lugo
out in the cow pasture.
Yeah, we lost to Don Lugo in a battle, and which we actually rematched them and beat them the second time. So, but anyways, I want to fast forward after that. I mean, 2017. Now we're here in 2022. How has your coaching, your style changed over the last? This is going into your 6th year.
Yeah.
How have you since that first? I mean, remember, I've been there for all 6 years.
Well, to start, I'm a lot more hands-on defense than I ever was. When we started, I had this guy over here who just was named, like, I think, defensive coordinator of the year, and I was like, all right, you got the defense. I remember practices where I'm like, I'm going to take the quarterbacks and go watch film. You run defense. If you need me, I'll be downstairs.
Yeah.
Once he left, we had a little transition. Had a guy come in and then leave within a couple months. And so kind of we're scrambling. I was like, all right, well, if we don't have a guy there, I got to know this. I got to learn it and be able to help out there too. So I've a lot more hands-on across the board for sure.
Yeah, so you've kind of learned, had to learn what's the line doing, what's the D line doing, what are those linebackers doing?
Yeah.
How is the DB? How they covering? Now you have to know everything other than just running offensive plays and worrying about quarterbacks. So, so how is it being a head coach, or because you are the offensive coordinator, you've been that for the last 6 years since you. So how do you like? Would you like being the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I mean, if we're being honest, I never wanted to be a head coach. Like that was never a goal of mine. I wanted to call plays. Like I always loved drawing up plays. Talk to guys I played with. Like at lunchtime when I was in school, I'd be sitting on the steps, drawing plays in a playbook, and they're all hanging out and doing stuff, and they're like, "What is wrong with you, man?" Like I don't know. It's what makes me happy. It's what I like to do.
So was that first year eye opening when all the other stuff that you have to do?
Okay, like I said, luckily I had an idea, and so Brew was really good about trying to teach me and,
I'm sure
and
Brew
show me the ropes.
Let you know what all this stuff.
And yeah, you kind of get thrown to the wolves, and it's crazy, and every day is a battle. And you talk to other like administrators or other sport coaches, and they're all like, "Oh yeah, football's the worst." It's just a lot of fires, just constantly putting out little fires here and there. It's the day-to-day stuff. It's luckily we've had some coaches that were campus supervisors on campus. So if a kid's messing around in class, luckily I have a relationship with a lot of the teachers, so I get an email, so-and-so's not doing their work, and I Lemus started to call him or Coach Pete, "Hey, go to this classroom, pull this kid out, make sure you're doing his stuff." But there's all that other stuff besides football.
Yeah. Now you don't have those guys, and let's fast forward to now. There's been a lot of adversity in our program for these first 2 games of the season. How is dealing with COVID? We're still dealing with it. We've had three guys missing last week. We got 3 guys missing this week. We've already had 3 quarterbacks playing in 2 games. So how is dealing with COVID?
It's fine. I remember listening to you guys' first podcast, kind of saying like, "Yeah, I think it's kind of over now." And sure enough, it is not. It's not for us, at least.
What's weird is we never had a problem with it before.
No, I know.
We never had a problem with it before.
The thick of it, we've had no issues last year, and other teams canceled on us, but we always were fine. And just bad luck, bad timing, whatever it is this year. But it's really helped our kids develop resiliency. I think the second game especially, had a lot of chances there to fold, but. And we every coach I think in America says next man up. Like that's just like a saying, but not every team really lives by that, right?
And can't live by that.
Yeah, like sometimes the next man up, you all look at each other and you're like, nope, find somebody else.
I mean, I don't know how many you go into it. We don't have 2 offensive linemen, and then like in the first quarter we lose another offensive and the leader of our squad. On offensive line.
Our tackles that first game. They wear different jerseys, but on their helmet it's number 17 and number 20. I'm not sure many teams have that at left and right tackle.
But we took them to the final, no time on the clock. With how is that to lose a game with no time on the clock to a 45-yard field goal, which that doesn't happen too often in high school football.
No, it does. I mean, but he's got a leg. I'd seen him. I earlier mentioned the Chris Taylor kicking camp. I'd seen him. He was at that one, and so he knew he had a leg. The funny thing was I was talking to one of our teachers that week, and he's asking me about the game and all that. "Oh, who's the best?" I said, "Well, the best, like they have a kicker who's really good." And he goes, "Yeah, but that doesn't usually matter in high school unless it's a close game at the very end. Like how often does that happen?"
Foreshadowing.
So it kind of jinxed that one a little bit. But it was a tough loss, but I was just so proud of the kids at that point, how well they played considering the circumstances.
We battled. We did. Burbank battled in both games. I mean, even Santa Fe this past Thursday. Back and forth. We get up by 2 touchdowns, and we let them back in.
Throw it away,
But so we're Burbank's 1-1 on the season. Let's go back. Let's look at your coaching career. In 2017, you were 10-3, 7-0 in league. And then we come back in 2018, which was a pretty good team. We went 7-4. We lost to a good Glendora team.
Really good Glendora team,
out at Sisters College in the first round. 2019, we take a step back and go 5-7, 3-3 in league. But we make it to the second round. That's where we play Don Lugo again.
Yep. That was a tough year. Our quarterback got injured about halfway through, and our backup got injured in the game 10. We sneak into the playoffs, and I'll never forget. We had our all-league meeting, so I had to run the all-league meeting.
Was that a flip of the coin that time for first
I think we got flipped. Yeah. Got in. We show up, and I went to practice after I get back from the all-league meeting. And I see our trainer, and I'm asking what the status of our backup quarterback who got hurt in the game was. And he's like, he already hurt his knee last year. He's like, I don't think he can play. So I'm like, all right, well, I don't really have a third-string quarterback. So I kind of look at Vinny, our safety / slot. He's the only other one that took a snap when he was like 12, I think he said, in middle school. And he goes, I'm like, all right, you're the only guy who's ever taken a snap. And he goes, Coach, I jammed my thumb in the game, and like I can't grip a football right now. I was like, oh God, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But
what was it, the first or second play? He goes 60,
second
70
play,
yards.
he goes speed option, fakes a pitch, and takes off, and just gets caught like the 2-yard line. But that was one of the most fun games, coaching, just throwing together an offense, because we had been a spread air raid team basically with our quarterback Ram, and now we literally just ran the ball every play. I think we ran for like 400 that game.
Really
or something.
teaches you how to go with what you have.
Yeah,
if you're a spread, you have to adjust to whatever you got, and if it's a power, go power. If it's whatever, so. But we bow out of the playoffs to a really good big Serrano team.
Yeah.
Then we have COVID year 1-3. Last year, go 3-7. We're not in the playoffs. It's the first time we don't make the playoffs since 2012.
I think. Yeah, in a decade.
So obviously this year that's got to be the playoff.
Yeah,
the playoffs.
No, that's the goal. Come there, we got to get back. And we've hung our hat on that at Burbank. Is we not only do we make the playoffs every year, we compete. We go far in the playoffs. I think we've won about a dozen playoff games in the last since I've been at Burbank in 2007 was my first year as a freshman. So that's something we take pride in.
Which leads me to what I want to talk about is the way we schedule your preseason games. What's the process? How do you figure out, or how do you pick a team?
So a lot of it's who's available, that kind of stuff. But
because over the years we played some teams that really challenge us.
Yep.
Even though if we don't win them, it really sets us up.
Yeah, and that's always been my thing. Is it's pre-league for a reason. You can go 0-5, still make the playoffs. It doesn't actually matter. It's about getting better. So there's no point in playing teams that you're just going to run over and feel all good about yourself. I remember that first year I think we went 1-2 back when we had the full league with Hoover and Glendale.
We beat Monrovia.
Lost to Canyon and got
Downey.
smacked by Downey. But then ran the table in the league. I remember we played CV. I think was 8-0 at the time.
Did we run? I think it was nine straight.
Yeah, but we had played a CV team that was 8-0, but they hadn't really been tested. They hadn't been challenged. They kind of cakewalked it. They were rolling teams, and in that game we got up on them early and they didn't know how to respond. So it's about that's why I'm so thrilled at the start to our year. We're 1-1, but our kids have already faced a lot of different tests, and so I know they're going to be ready come league when it's a close game in the fourth quarter. They're not going to be uncomfortable.
Just some of the games that you've got scheduled over the years. A 2018 matchup against Moore Park, which is that's where Drake London.
I still have nightmares of Drake London run down the sideline.
It looks like you consistently schedule teams from the Foothill League, Hart and Golden Valley, and we played. You played Hart a couple times. You played Golden Valley a couple times.
Played Canyon back in the day. Yeah.
Last year you scheduled Simi Valley, which to me I think is maybe one of the best teams we played in the last 10 years.
Was a special group.
That was a great team. And then you threw. Now we got Brentwood on the schedule now.
Yep. They're off to a real hot start. Yeah.
And St. Genevieve. So they're good quality programs. It's going to challenge us, get us ready for the league. But
a little bit of variety too. Get some different types of teams, which is good. Get some more pass heavy, run heavy, different defensive looks. That's the other thing. And like you said, scheduling the pre-league is you want to see as much as you can. So that you're prepared, like I said, come league.
Let's take a look at the schedule. When next week, Burbank's got Castaic, another foot league. The first year in the foot league, Foothill League. And what do you think? Is it another Foothill team? Is it? Obviously it's not running up against Saugus or West Ranch.
Yeah, definitely not going to be like quite the Saugus.
It is their first year.
Yeah, first year they're building their program up, but you're going to get the same type of kids, And I remember growing up, when Burbank was in the Foothill League, going to those games, watching those teams. And it's tough. And even, I think when we played Golden Valley the first time, I think the previous year they had gone 2-8. And I remember our kids kind of be like, they weren't that good. They're not that good. And I went, guys, 2-8 in the Foothill League is very different than 2-8 in, that's not, they're like, they have the same record as Hoover. I'm like, okay, they're not that team. It's, they're playing some top competition there. So Casaig's going to be good. I'm excited to get a test with them.
First away game for Burbank this year, so that's going to be challenging. I don't think we ever played at Valencia. The stadium itself, I've never been there. But so let's go with Brentwood School next, St. Genevieve. Then you open up league with Pasadena.
Yep. think we get a buy in there before Pasadena, which will be
Bye
good.
before Pasadena.
So it's a nice time to break up right before league, kind of get healthy, make sure we're ready to roll.
And then Arcadia, CV, Mir, and then obviously we end up with the big game with Burroughs.
Yep.
What do you think of the league this year, Pacific League?
I think it's going to be a good league. Obviously, Pasadena's loaded. They're definitely the team to beat. Mir, still trying to learn more about them. I know Lance, their new head coach, is a really good coach, so I'm expecting them to be
they're having a
tough.
Difficult time with the first 2 weeks.
They
need to get their offense
new
going.
coach adjustments. I'm sure they'll get better as the year goes on. And then Arcadia, CV, Burroughs, us. Last year I think the four of us all kind of beat each other up, and I think it was technically us and Burroughs tied for third. But if our CV beats Arcadia, I think they're the ones that would have gotten in. So I kind of see it being similar this year, where we're all about the same, and it's who shows up on Friday night.
That's what I was going to ask you. Let's look ahead and see. Obviously we don't want to look past anybody, but and we don't want to look past the league. But once you get to that Burroughs game, is it? Do you think it's Pasadena, it's Mir, it's us and Burbank and Burroughs, or what? CV and Arcadia, they got a lot to fill holes from last year. Who knows what Mir is going to be like?
Yeah,
we don't know.
Haven't seen Arcadia, CV, or Mir at all really on the summer circuit. Saw Burroughs a couple places, saw Pasadena a couple places, but don't really know what they all have. But I'm sure they're going to get better as the year goes on. Like, you can look at scores from week 1, but it's not going to be the same team that we play in week 10 with Burroughs. It's always going to evolve. So I think it's going to be a competitive league. I really do. I think it's going to be competition, and obviously Pasadena is the team to beat. Outside of that, I think anyone can beat anyone any given night. It just kind of depends what happens. That's
the thing with the Pacific League. It's anybody can beat anybody every night.
Yeah.
So let's get to your roster. What's the strong point of your roster this year?
This year, I'd say our line. We have a very senior line, both sides of the ball. Unfortunately, one of them went down in that first game. But it's always nice when you got dudes with experience up front, and we have some size for a change. We're usually not the biggest team, but we got a couple big boys up front. Some of the biggest kids we've had since I've been around.
So does that change your way of play calling?
Yeah, so our offense is completely different this year than it was in the past. We got a couple tight ends now, which we haven't done much of in the past. So we're a little more. We can be more ground and pound at times, which helps the defense as well. Slow the game down, keep them on the sideline rested. So trying to play complementary football.
Dylan Robinson. He's the catalyst of your team.
Yeah, Dylan makes the team go. That's why it's so tough. Not having him week 1.
And I don't want to forget Zach Estrada. He has been a workhorse the first 2 weeks.
He's done everything. I mean, like you said, he running back, quarterback, receiver.
Yeah, and so,
corner, safety.
Dylan Robinson missed that first game, and you could tell the difference in the team in week 2.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Zach, I thought I could tell the difference because he didn't take on all that pressure for himself.
Yeah, let him play a little looser.
In the end, it was the pressure on Zach, and he carried the team and ended up winning the game. So those two are going to roll for your offensive, right?
And they're a fun duo. They're friends. They've known each other for a long time, and they're both just, like I said, the line, same thing. They're just laid back dudes. They're very calm, and so we have a very calm presence as a team, which is nice. That's why I think we responded well to adversity these first couple of games. Is that we don't get frustrated when things don't go our way. Everyone just kind of stays level-headed, stays even-keeled, and let's just keep playing football.
And it kind of showed like that in the first 2 games because, at times the Burbank was down.
Mm-hmm.
Down, at one time at Santa Fe we were down 16-6 at halftime.
Mm-hmm. 16-6 at half.
Outscored them 28-14 in the second half to win the game. So it looks like they got some fight, they got some dog in them.
Definitely, they definitely do.
And the last thing I want to cover is your staff. I see a lot of old alumni coming back and wanting to coach football.
Yeah.
What do you think about how that has
really
transpired?
It's a lot of fun. I think we got 4 or 5 alumni from when I started coaching that are on the staff. Omar, our strength coach and D-line coach, played with me. Coach Caldwell played with me as well. So, everything we talk about is family. I mentioned that earlier. I really preach that because that's how I feel, about the team and about the staff. And so it helps having guys that come back that are bought in. And I say love all the time. I say I love you guys. I try to tell them as much as I can. I remember last year one of our players being like, Coach, we know you love us. You tell us all the time. I'm like, hey, if you know one thing, I hope
reassurance.
it's that. So having those guys come back that have been through it, you know, in that same locker room, on that same field, and have that experience and that passion, and knowing that they're able to relate to the kids in a way where they know what life is like, you know, being a teenager in Burbank. They went to those same, you know, food spots after school. They went to the same, you know, places to hang out. They played pickup ball at the same spot. So it really just helps build that chemistry with, you know, across the board, coaches, players, everybody.
The last thing I want to cover here, and I want Lemus and Bacon to chime in. I want to know what. You know, I probably should have covered this earlier, but what is your process for breaking down film? You said you like to break down film. You've been wanting to do that. You started doing that before you came coach.
Yeah.
I want to know how you start to break down film. You sit down. You got cast take. How did you start doing it? What did you do?
So get the film up. So I'm a math teacher, right? So like numbers are big for me. So Huddle are able to pull up a lot of data on trends, tendencies. Now this early in the season, I try not to look at those too much. You know, okay, one game, that game plays out a certain way. Maybe you throw it more than you usually do, run it, whatever, blitz more. So I try not to lean into the tendencies too much this early just because there's not a big sample size. But after that, just kind of seeing, okay, what's their base? What are they trying to do? And trying to kind of get into the heads of the other coaches and what's their philosophy, right? Not just...
Do you watch the film all the way through before you even make a judgment, or do you get right into it?
I try to watch it through once before I, you know, really start digging in. Just kind of watch it once, see first takeaways, and that's glaring. And like I said, that first time through is really looking for a philosophy. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to be a pressure team? Are they trying to, you know, limit big plays? And just kind of see what's their philosophy, because that's going to determine what ours needs to be. We got to be adaptable. So if, you know, they're trying to bring pressure, they're going to be susceptible to big plays on the other end. But if they're going to be a team that's trying to play soft coverage, keep everything in front of them, we can't be coming trying to throw deep every play and play right into their hands. So try to get that philosophy first, and then go back in and dive into X's and O's. Go through scheme first and just kind of say, okay, what is their scheme? What are they trying to do? Do they do different, you know, they mix up coverages? What's the keys? What's the tells? You know, sometimes it's the safeties, sometimes it's the corners, but who's telling you what the real coverage is if they're trying to disguise? And then kind of that third, fourth time going back through and diving into the personnel, like you said, and say, okay, man for man, who are their studs? You know, where are the areas we can try to attack and get matchups that favor our guys.
Okay, Coach Bacon, you know, as you were a defensive coordinator, now you were an offensive coordinator and the head coach from Montclair. How do you look at breaking down film differently? Now that you know on both sides what to look for, what do you?
I think I do. Basically, it's the same thing what Adam said. I think I try to go a little bit more on the defense side. It makes me look at, if I do this formation, how would they line up, kind of thing. So I look at that a little bit more. You know, if we motion, do they rotate the safety down? Do they slide the linebackers? You know, do they blitz automatic? Is there an automatic check for that? You know, if we go into a tight set, a bunch, do they press the point man? So I try to look at tendencies along with Adam, what he said, along with that as well. And then go with, like, okay, if it's, you know, first down, second down, third down, what do they like to do if they're a blitz team, bring pressure, soft, or whatever the case may be? What's their philosophy, maybe? But I try to do it along that, and, you know, just try to figure out what they're trying to do, you know, kind of thing. But
so do you take off the head coach hat? Are you an offensive, you know, are you a DC? Are you an OC? What do you take that head coach off, or you keep it all in one time, and go, all right, I'm going to look at this as a three coaches in one?
You know what? I catch myself looking at their offense more, like breaking down like what plays they run. You know, it's just old habit, but I try to do both. Like, we have a DC that does a great job with D-line coach, and then we have other coaches, our linebacker coach and our DB coach, that, you know, time in and, like, you know, DCs as well. But I kind of let them do their thing, and then so I can worry about the offense. And then if I see something, you know, like a team that does something that that I'm used to, that I've went against before, I'll chime in and say, hey, we did this before. How about this? And then I'll make one of those suggestions. Hey, why don't we do this kind of thing? But other than that, try to stay away. But I'll be at practice like, well, what if he does this? What are you guys gonna do? So I'll kind of challenge them to make sure that they have the adjustments with everything. So that's the philosophy there.
Coach Lemus, as a DC, looking at the other side because these guys are kind of offense right now.
Yeah,
What's the first thing you look at? Obviously, you're looking to see what kind of dudes they have, but is it same looking at scheme first, see what they're doing?
The first go around, I probably watch it as a fan. Just a fan of football, just watch it, play it through, see how the game progresses. After that, I think the first thing our staff does is we start to fill up every column that Huddle has available to get the most information you can. So we have a coach who runs the report for us. So like by tonight, I should have a report on tendencies, and he keeps just working the numbers on what their tendencies is. I got an email on Thursday from the guy, and he told me, hey, if they don't gain a yard on first down, they're 83% pass on second down. So it's like he's watching more of the numbers, analytic stuff, and we're watching more on scheme, what hash they're on, depending, Orange, Jay Sarah, they love to be on the right hash for some strange reason. And stuff like that, you just pick up, just tendencies. And I mean, we only had 2 games on them, but it's just studying. And I think you got to watch it, too, in an open mind, like, oh, my kids could do this. It's like, no, it's like you copy, too. You could also copy what the other teams have done, because usually that works best. It's like whatever they did, you guys could do it, too. We could do it, too, and it just make it look a little different. So
it sounds like all 3 of you guys use all of Huddle's tools and what they have for each coach or each team, their whole program.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like Adam said, like having Huddle is such a, from back in the day of like the CDs and going back and you're charting.
I think you guys don't exchange VHS tapes.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I played, they were VHS.
Yeah.
We didn't even watch film. It was old school. You just go and you play.
Saturday morning.
I remember my first when I started at Citrus, Ponce used to use the Cowboy. I don't think people even know what that is. Had the square, reverse, fast forward play, like the Cowboy that attached to the, maybe it was a VCR. You remember that? Like, he used to use that all the time. So I remember we used to have to chart that, by hand kind of thing. You had to write down every formation, and if you saw it more than once, you just put like a tally next to it so you don't have to draw it again. But I still catch myself doing that, like drawing cards. I know a lot of coaches use I know Lemus used the practice scripts on Huddle, like drawing cards, but I just draw it by hand. I feel like it's a little bit faster.
You still use
I
the
draw by hand.
Yeah.
I actually just finished before I got here. Yeah, it's very useful too. It's like even though some teams run similar stuff than your offense, the kids still have to see the card. Your scout, you got to get the best scout look. But the way Huddle has it,
are they like our guys? You put up the card and they don't run what's on the card.
it's. I think they're all teenagers. It's hard to get them to do this right thing. So yeah.
Okay, so that's end for this session of the Coach's Corner. I thank you guys for coming in and sitting down and talking a little ball, talking a little Coach Coleman, talking about Burbank. And we'll be right back with the Roundtable. Mark the Shark and Jim Reggio will join us. We'll be right back. Welcome, guys. Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob.
Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob. Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob.
Okay, guys, welcome back to Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob. I am your host, Rob Ashby. Roundtable, Powerhouse Roundtable. Got Coach Lemus from Chaminade, DC.
Got Coach Lemus from
Jim Reggio from BURBANK.com. Coach Adam Coleman from Burbank Bulldogs. Coach Martin Bacon from Montclair. And we got Mark the Shark
Thanks for having
from
me back.
Twitter.
Wow.
Absolutely. Welcome all you guys. So, first thoughts on week 1. What comes to mind? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Other than let's bring it out.
Whoo, man, that was my heartbeat I'm still interested to see what my heartbeat was, but that was a hell of a game.
Chaminade brings out the victory over
Big
the
time.
Trinity team.
Yeah, that was two big-time football teams going at it, and I'm still floating on there.
I would imagine you are. Any other anything stick out for you guys?
Their game was like an instant classic. There was another one, Pacifica and St. Bonaventure. I was following closely. That one was another like back and forth to the wire. I think the final score was like 45-41 or something.
There's a couple teams
that running back had like. I think their running back broke Lorenzo Booker's Ventura County rushing record.
I think he had 6 TDs, right?
He had like 370 or something rushing. Wow. Something crazy.
This is Pacifica's kid?
St. Bonnie's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and against Pacifica's defense, which is legit too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so let's get to the week 1 scores. Let's since Coach Coleman's here, we'll go through Pacific League first. As I said, Burbank won 35-30 over Santa Fe. Burroughs 17, Fillmore 7. Pasadena rolls 35, Glendora 10. That was kind of expected, but that big of a lead, kind of a surprise.
I saw that one coming.
Yeah.
Glendora's still not at full strength.
Okay.
I don't think it would have helped, but
Okay.
they're still not at full strength.
Monrovia 49, Arcadia 14. Eagle Rock 17, CV 7, and Eagle Rock pulls the victory over CV, and then St. Pius 35, Mir 0. Mir's been outscored 45-0 in the first 2 games. So, any thoughts on our? What about you, Jim? How's Burroughs?
Burroughs looked really good. Burroughs looks deeper than they've been. Gosh, I think this is the best Burroughs team, at least as far as depth, that I've seen, at least in the last 6-7 years, at least.
You don't like to hear that, Coleman.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got some players that, they've got some guys that can catch the ball, and it's not just one guy. And they've got a quarterback that can throw. Ethan Hubble, Jr. is just a really good two-way kid.
That's Steven's brother?
That's his son.
Yeah.
Cousin.
Yeah,
Oh,
his dad's the vice principal. Ethan's, if you look at him, he looks like a standard kid, but he's just got a great football vision. I mean, he's just a football player who understands what he needs to do, and he knows how to draw flags. And he had 3 catches for like 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also drew got the DB to commit on a pass interference play. Broke up a couple key passes. He's just a real baller.
Okay. So you expected Pasadena, huh? That much?
Yeah, well, they're full strength.
They got all their guys
Everybody
back?
was eligible. Balin Brooks had a big game, and I think a couple of linemen. I think they had, and running back.
Yeah, they're full strength. They're
so
going to be hard to defend.
That's gonna be. I mean, that'll be a good game. Them and Damien. I
Yeah.
that's gonna.
A good matchup.
I have my issues with Damien, but I mean that'll prove a lot if they win that game.
Yeah.
That'll settle a lot of things.
What do we think about Mir? I mean, Mir hasn't scored a point yet in 2 games.
I haven't seen a clip. I haven't seen
Yeah, I haven't
anything.
seen
You know, I
anything.
haven't seen anything. So
I
I don't
couldn't even find the score
what
that
they're doing on
Yeah.
offense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the Foothill League. I don't think there was a lot of surprises in the Foothill League. West Ranch rolls 49-0 over Buena. Castaic 20, Royal 41, Golden Valley 42, Antelope Valley 6. Yeah, that's kind of a surprising that big. Hart 18, Oxnard 21, Saugus 41, Moore Park 13, Valencia 46, Quartz Hill 13, Canyon 28, and Hueneme 7. What sticks out there? Is it the
West
big?
Ranch is really good.
Yeah, West
Yeah.
Ranch looks
They
like
are
a real
West Ranch
deal.
looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear how many touchdowns Ryan Staub threw for this week.
I think it was like 5.
So if he's got 5, he's got 11 touchdown passes through 2 games.
Wow.
Plus he's got the 1 rushing. So he's
That's a player.
he's started out the first 2 weeks
stud.
playing some ball. What about Monrovia of Arcadia? 49-14.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Arcadia is not what they used to be, or even, I mean, like you said the other week, Legacy's not.
Legacy?
He's not
Yeah.
walking
Who
through
was-
those doors
I can't
anymore.
remember that quarterback. That was really good.
I know you're talking about.
But I was throwing him the ball.
I forget his name now too. I know
yeah,
you're talking
but
about.
yeah, I mean, I haven't
Lefty?
seen. Huh?
Is he a lefty?
Nah, he was a righty. I can't remember his name, but
What, you're not talking about Miles Carr from
Yeah.
Reggio?
yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
That's what it was. But yeah, besides that, I mean, besides when Maxie was there, but
Yeah,
they haven't been
the same.
the same
Yeah.
as before. But Monrovia, I mean, I saw some clips of the Monrovia receiver Moore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing more.
So we got 2 now.
Sophomore.
We had them
They
in
have
7 on
Hernandez, right?
7. and
Yeah,
they're-
Hernandez.
So they got another guy.
Yeah.
No,
He's
that
like
one's
6
legit too.
He's like 6'4", right?
I'm
He's-
guessing he's getting a ton of attention.
Yeah, I mean-
Hernandez in this and more kids.
He was taking
Yeah.
H's.
I know
like 40
Hernandez
yards.
is like the dude, but
Yeah.
that
That
Moore
other
kid's
dude.
gonna be special. Like,
Yeah.
we did 7 on with them, and
Oh, okay.
He doesn't
they
look
got,
like a
They got
sophomore.
weapons, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he was taking H's like 50.
Yeah.
It was just, it's crazy.
Okay, let's move on to Rio Hondo. Actually, we covered Monrovia. Norwalk 49, La Cañada 28, San Marino 14, Arroyo 13, South Pasadena 37, May West CES 6, Polytechnic didn't play, and Temple City 54, Mark Keppel 0. That Mark Keppel team has taken a beating the last 2 days.
God bless him for getting out there and trying it, though. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't think
they
they were
lost
gonna
to
fill the
70-0
team.
by Hoover the first week.
I'm sure they
So-
probably can't have more than
I
like
did
20
see
people.
I did see them for about a quarter and a half, and I mean, they have kids. I mean, they did have some kids on the sideline. I mean, obviously, they're struggling. And the quality obviously isn't very high, but they had enough kids to field the team.
Sam Marino, your boy. I think that was
Yeah,
That's
I wasn't
shocking.
expecting that. I mean,
Well,
I thought
they-
Royal.
Really?
Royal does a great job.
They pretty
Yes.
much they won on
Yes.
defense.
Really?
They had a
Yeah, 14-13.
Jaden Clark had an 82-yard pick 6. They get a stop. They actually with 6 minutes left in the game
Wow.
score, but Arroyo misses the extra point.
Oh.
They're still up 13-7, and then they San Marino forces a fumble with 2 minutes left.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Score
Oh wow.
and win the game 14-13.
Because Royal's always that solid.
But it
team.
basically comes down to a missed field goal.
Yeah. San Marino's the same. I mean, they're
San
usually
Marino,
well
yeah.
coached,
Yeah.
solid team.
I mean, coming out of that
14-13.
Norwalk lot, you know what it's like to face
Yeah.
a double wing team. You don't know
Yeah.
if you could feel the
There's
team
Norwalk
after
still
that.
running that double.
Yeah, so you come off a double wing team. Do you have enough time to recover to play another game? Real?
Sure.
They won by defense. So there you
Yeah,
go.
that's good.
Yeah. Well,
Hats off to that
what
San
about
Marino.
Norwalk? Norwalk in La Cañada, they were back and forth. I mean, I think La Cañada cut it to 6, 34-28, and then the dude from Norwalk, the running back, Mueller, which had a night, had a kickoff return, 63 yards, and then scored like 2 plays later to break it open. So And I'll get back to Polytechnic later. Let's go Mission League. Let's start with Alamany. Alamany,
That was a surprise.
Alamany 14, Lincoln 7. That's a huge surprise.
But at the same time, Alamany they'll have talent. They got good coaches, so
Yeah.
I was just surprised by the score. I didn't.
Well,
see
that game was 7-6 most of the game, and then Alamany capped off a 15-play drive to go down and win it. They ran it in. They had an interception late to seal it deep in their territory on the 10.
Yeah.
So I guess their dude was what's his name? Padden White.
Yeah,
we had
his older brother on our team last year as a corner, and I think this guy's a junior. So,
well, he scored all the
speed.
points. I think he had both the touchdowns and he scored the 2-point conversion. So because they missed an extra point. So that was Alamany 14, Lincoln 7. Sherman Oaks Notre Dame 49, Birmingham 20, Sierra Canyon 21, Oaks Christian 38. How did anybody expect sitting here week 2, Sierra Canyon being 0-2?
no.
I mean, they were vying to be
by that score either.
Yeah,
They've invested in
and it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
They've
I mean,
invested too.
I don't think any of us are crying for them either, or feeling bad for them.
I mean, I don't even think. I mean, it was 28-14 at half for that game, but I mean, I don't think Sierra got even close. I mean, I think they cut it to 28-20, and then Sierra came out and put it away in the fourth quarter. There, Devin Tate 2 TD passes. He had a rushing touchdown for Oaks, and they scored 17 unanswered at the end of the third.
Wow.
So, it wasn't really even close.
Is Oaks still splitting quarterback reps, or is it Tate's team
We played
now?
them the week before.
I know you guys played before.
Yeah, they were splitting them up, and I don't know exactly how they did this past game.
How did did one stand out more?
It was hard to tell. It was just hard to tell. I mean, when Nate came, I think his first name's
Yeah.
Nate. When he came in, I wasn't even aware of it, and I went cover 0 and got sacked. But I thought it was the other quarterback that was in the whole time.
Yeah.
I really couldn't tell. So,
Gotcha.
I don't know how they're doing it.
Is Notre Dame a surprise? I mean, because I wasn't hearing a lot about
I think
them.
we got to see them really get tested.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they won their first
Oh,
game, I think, pretty big against Crespi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they beat Birmingham, which is who you guys got. So.
Yeah, so I'm watching I have Notre Dame on the other side of the clip right now on Huddle, but I'm really not watching them. So
They got a good quarterback.
Yeah. They have quarterback.
Right. Dragomer is a stud.
Yeah,
He's a Burbank kid.
He's a stud too. Sarah 3, Long Beach Poly 17. Is that a surprise?
not really.
I don't
no.
think Long Beach Poly's an underdog to really anybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
Quarterback,
Long Beach Poly, just in their history and stuff. I mean, they've just got athletes at every position. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
not even modern day would take them lightly. I mean, or nobody would in their right mind would take them lightly.
Poly quarterback Darius Curry, 36-yard TD pass to Jaden Robinson, and Devin Samples, a 1-yard rushing TD. That did it to seal the win. Pretty much Poly shut them down defensively. I mean,
Yeah, they're good defensively. I mean, I think every game they've had past 4 years since we've been scouting them, it's fun defensive matchups to watch.
They're big, right? They're big up
Oh,
there.
they're big.
Yeah.
They're big. They're both big.
Sherman Oaks Notre Dame 49, Birmingham 20. They started the game out with a 91-yard bomb by Birmingham, the Patriots.
Yeah, and I think after that play, Notre Dame ran a kickoff return back.
But
score.
it was 14. They got Kinston Tinsdale to Peyton Waters. He had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, 91-yarder and 8-yard.
Yeah, Peyton Kid.
They got
Peyton
pick
Kid-
6. Notre Dame had a pick 6.
Yeah, the Peyton kid from Birmingham's he's pretty fast.
Yeah,
He's
here's-
got some burners on him.
Here's an incident where I think defense did anything. They had a pick 6 to tie it up 14-14, and Notre Dame never looked back after that. Totally changed the momentum of the game. Notre Dame had 3 touchdown passes, and they had 3 rushing touchdowns. That's balanced attack for a.
So is
But it-
Birmingham the team to beat then in the city? It appears to be. I mean, if they're even, playing, at the level with a team like Notre Dame, scoring in the first quarter, a couple touchdowns, that makes me think that that Birmingham has to be considered one of the favorites for the city title.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They lost a good amount of guys. I think they lost their best player, forget his first name, but he was a stud and
The receiver,
Florida
right?
State,
Yeah.
Florida State guy?
Or Florida.
Florida? Oh,
Florida, I think,
yeah.
yeah. But I mean, they got good coaching over there, so they're always going to be good.
Notre Dame scored.
Good secondary coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notre Dame scored 28 points in the second quarter and 21 points in the fourth quarter. They're doing it when they have to. I'd love to be able to score 28 points in the second quarter,
That'd be
man.
nice.
Okay, let's get to the Bishop and Mott 42, La Habra 7. They rolled.
La Habra is usually a good program. I mean,
Yeah.
they've won quite a few CIF titles. I think they've dipped a little bit in the last couple years. Of course, they don't have my brother's nephews on there on the team anymore. So, but yeah, they were pretty good a couple years ago. I mean, of course, the defensive tackle from the Rams, Greg Gaines, came out of that La Habra program. He's the guy that lines up next to Aaron Donald, and so they've had some really good players. I think Clark Phillips, who's at Utah, who I thought was. At the beginning of that Rose Bowl game this past year, I was just like, "Gosh, this guy is something." I mean, he had decommitted from Ohio State.
Wait, come on.
I know.
What is he thinking?
Hey,
How do you do that?
I don't know what he was thinking. I kind of thought the same thing at first.
Go Blue.
But because. Yes, no. I mean, I would have to agree, and that's not because you're an Ohio State fan, but yes, Ohio State definitely has a bigger history than Utah. But yeah, Clark Phillips was the highest-rated recruit in Utah's history, and in that Rose Bowl game, in that first half, he showed why he is.
Utah's gonna have a good team this year.
Yeah.
All right, and the last one for Mission League, Chaminade 24, J. Sarah Catholic 21.
Yeah, that game had a little bit of everything.
How big was it to get that touchdown before the half?
It was huge. It was huge. I wasn't aware that the backup quarterback was in. I was not even watching the game at that point. I was watching the iPad stuff, and next thing I know, I watched the starting quarterback with the nice pack on his back. I'm like, oh wow, what happened here? So the backup's in, and I knew if
Your
we
backup quarterback?
Huh?
Yeah.
Your backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he was in the game at that point, and I just knew if we scored the way the game was going, we would get the ball back. And our defense we just got afforded a really bad field position to start the game. We had a kickoff return that went probably like 90 yards. Then we had a bad snap that put us inside the 50
You didn't
again.
get points from that. Wow.
And the last touchdown they scored was we just got out leveraged on the zone block, and they drove down the field. But besides that, I told the kids, I'm like, hey, man, it's like 21-0. It's a three-pointer in basketball. It's 3 points. It's not 21 touchdowns we got to get. I told Bacon, I think this is big. It's like experience that I've had. I think we were down to Northview, 10 points going into the fourth.
Yeah.
You just got to chill out, relax, and
Let it come to you.
And the game just started rolling. Momentum was it.
So you guys score it at the half. How was the feeling going in halftime in the locker room?
It was relaxed. We just talked about a couple adjustments we made, and I think both the offensive and defensive staffs, we just reassured the kids that we were going to put them in the right spots, compete. And I think one of our leaders, he told the kids, he did most of the talking during halftime. He just told the kids, if you guys have to play this game, like care about it, play for somebody or play for something. Mm-hmm. And he said, I play this game because I love it. So let's go and just play football. And I think that was big for us. We had good leadership in that game.
So you get the ball at second half, the kickoff, and you guys go down and score.
Yes.
21-14.
21-14.
So, and then you tie it up early in the fourth on another rushing touchdown, right?
Yes.
Halfway through the fourth, you get the big interception. How big is that?
Huge.
I mean, that's.
Bacon knows.
Were they driving the score? I mean, where was it out on the field?
They were 80 yards away from a touchdown. So Bacon knows this. Sometimes you practice plays and you just never use them. They're just in your back pocket. I hadn't called this play in over 4 years, and I was like, let's just go cover zero. Let's send the monster.
What play was it?
a bear front, and I had my monster who usually plays inside, and he's got tight end right there. This is the kid I was yelling at, and I was like, you got to get inside of him. You got to get inside. And he didn't move until maybe about a second before the play went on. So he went right in between, right there, in between the tackle and the tight end, which made this tight end now block him. And that took the free, knowing that he's blocking, that took the free now to kind of roam back here. I think this kid ran the wrong route, just drifted apart, and our rover came right underneath to make a play. I just think that them seeing that guy blitz made them max protect. I mean, back went there, and we had skinny posts on the backside. Besides that, I mean, I think the front four right here did their job and forced pressure. The blitz came as a surprise to them. I had them blitz the whole game.
And that's called NASA.
No, that's actually called Maniac Monster Oregon. Won't be using that one again for quite a while. Just a little funk, you know, and I think it was the right time to call it.
Cool play. It's good to know you can pull those out, and it does its job when you need it.
Yeah, have it in your back pocket when you need it.
Yep.
So we were in a bear front, and our monster.
You ran the bear front?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So our monster was like a hybrid safety. He was on the tight end, so he went through the B gap, but he lined up outside the tight end. I'm yelling at him like, "Get in the box, get in the box," and he's like nowhere to be found. And right as soon as the snap hits, he goes inside, and I think that causes him to go max protection. They throw the ball up, and I don't think the receiver ever saw it. Our safety was underneath it, so.
Yeah, I think you guys had the short field. I think it was the 43-yard line.
Yeah.
You guys go down, work the clock down.
Work the clock. I think there was a down there where it was fourth down, I think, and we were about to kick it, and I yell at the head coach. I'm like, "Go for it, man! Go for it! Like, we're not wasting time here. Let's go. We got to win this game." And I think we had faith in our kicker. He practices all the time. I think he's a number 2 kicker in the country. So
nice. Wow.
Had a lot of faith in him.
I would think you'd have confidence.
No, he had
finished the game with your back.
Yeah, he had back spasms throughout the week, and I don't pay attention too much to the offense, so I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was just he wasn't playing well, but he was hurt.
But kicker hits the chip shot, wins it for
Chaminade. And place goes wild, and
it's nice to beat a training team, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I mean, I'm not going to say any more.
On to the next. It's on to Birmingham.
And they're better than expected, right? Jay Sarah's was really. They had a good off season.
They were good,
and they had a good first week.
They had a lot of dudes coming back, didn't they? Didn't they have like 10 on the defense and?
They had I think 9 returning starters on offense and 9 on defense.
9 on defense. That's
they're a mature team.
How big is that win on your belt there?
on your coaching.
It's up there with the Northview. It's up there, and I think with South Hills as well. Just the adversity we had to go through.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of everything in that game, so it was.
I know
fun.
We've talked about that Northview. It's my best, I think the hardest game we've ever come back from, and the best game I think atmosphere-wise for us at Burbank. But Coach Coleman thinks South Hills was so. All right, let's go on to Charter Oak Northview.
Yeah, like I said, survive and advance.
You played Thursday night like we did. I mean,
played Thursday. Yeah, the 38-24, and it wasn't the prettiest game. But Charter Oak didn't have a scrimmage. They didn't have a week 0. So I mean, it kind of looked like it. Took them a while to get going, and Northview, man, they just pounded the ball the whole game. Pounded the ball up front, and
Northview rushed for nearly 400 yards.
It is,
and it's amazing if you rush for that amount of yards, you don't win the game.
Yeah. And still get beat. And we had a touchdown interception in the end zone, and the guy almost ran it back. So if he scores there, it's a 21-point win. Wow. Yeah. But they ran him down, and they caught him about the 10-yard line.
So Richie Munoz, the transfer from LaSalle, your quarterback,
as advertised,
355 yards, 5 TDs in his debut at Charter Oak.
You know what surprised? I mean, because I watched this huddle, and I see that he uses feet, like he moves, he gets out of the pocket. He's a true dual threat, and a lot of the plays, man, he extended the play, he found receivers downfield. I mean, he just looks like he's so cool back there. Like, he doesn't look phased. You could just tell he has that demeanor. Doesn't look phased. things break down, he takes off. He finds open receivers. He's on the money. He's legit. He's gonna make like.
So you're happy he transferred to Charter?
Like he's gonna make like maybe a mid-major team like a San Jose State or.
Has he
he's
had
gonna make something like that. Very very
Very
happy. Yeah, he's a senior.
Okay.
Does he
So
have?
I don't know where
does he
he's
have some
gonna go.
offers yet?
I believe he has some offers,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that seems like the type of school that he'll go and he'll be a star at. He'll do really well.
For Northview, as we said, they nearly rushed for 400. Keanu Tavao?
Something like that, yeah.
That's,
240 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Angel Barraza,
Yeah.
he added 118. So
Yeah, he had over 100
had
in the first half.
A nice,
And-
1-2 punch.
Yeah, they were really physical up front, man. They were. I mean, I underestimated them. I did. I think the first episode I said it wasn't going to be close, and
Yeah.
I was wrong. They were really physical up front. They took it to Charter Oak up front, and
It looks like the big plays by the Chargers.
it was the speed. Yeah. I mean, it was basically their power against Charter Oak's speed and athletes and.
I saw that one touchdown, his last touchdown pass, I think it was, where he just heaved it down and the defensive back
that was
fell
one of
down.
those plays where he got there was
he was
pressure on
standing
him.
on the 3-yard line. He caught it and he went in.
Yeah, there was pressure on him. He got out of the pocket. He took off, and he just heaved it downfield. The Northview's corner fell.
Oh, I saw that one.
He tripped, and then he took it in.
Let's see, we got an 85-yard TD pass to Sakari Black.
Yeah, screen pass.
9-yard strike to Jaden Alexander with 2 seconds left in the
2
half.
seconds left in the half.
They scored
big.
two touchdowns in a matter of 2 minutes right at the half, didn't they?
Yes, because they were down. They were down, and
To go up 21-10.
Yeah, it ended up going in up 11 at the half.
Yeah.
After seriously, they were getting pounded the whole game. And Charter, I mean, the time of possession had to be way in Northview's favor because Charter Oak didn't really get that many opportunities. But they didn't really. When they got them, they scored quick.
Then you guys come out of half, and I think is right at Munoz hits Alvarado for a 30-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that was in the third quarter, I believe.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the third quarter.
Then Northview battles back and cuts it to 28-24. Were you
another more
getting a
big
little
runs.
nervous there?
Yeah, I was really nervous. Well, I mean, yeah, because they didn't even throw. They maybe threw the ball 5 times, maybe the whole game,
Yeah.
maybe, and one was towards the end. Only one big play that might have been the only completion, maybe. Was the one big play down there. Our corner, I think, kind of stumbled and caught the pass, and
then
my son happened to catch the guy and make
did he?
the touchdown. Yeah.
Good. So Munoz
Shut up.
Munoz hits Isaiah Johnson 53-yard TD passes the
Yeah.
one that I was talking about
Yeah.
to seal the deal.
Yeah.
35-24. Good win for Charter Oak. It's a great win.
It was. Like I said, I underestimated Northview, and I won't do that. They're a tough team. They're a D10 champs last year, and they'll be in a position to defend that.
Yeah, I mean, is there room for concern for Charter Oak though with their defense?
Obviously they need to. Like I said, I'm not the X and O's guys. I mean, Coach Lemus, Coach Bacon, you guys would, all you guys would probably better being able to look at that and figure what they did wrong. But just for me, I mean, yeah, obviously some changes need to be made up front. I know they had some young players, maybe a little undersized. We have two really good D tackles that won't be eligible till week 6.
Mm.
So I mean that'll help. So there's help on the way, but I mean either way, I mean you can't get beat like that up front.
I'm sure both those teams will
But they'll make adjustments.
be there in the end.
I have nothing but confidence in Coach Harrington
Yeah.
to make those adjustments going forward.
Okay, let's anything else with week 1? Put week 1 to rest.
Let's see. We're going back to the rest of the Ayala. Ayala look.
Who'd they have?
They look really good. They beat up
beat Etowanda.
Etowanda pretty easily.
That's what I just said.
3 or something.
Ayala's they're a team.
Are they in the league with Charter Oak?
They're in
They are.
the league. Charter Oak, Bonita, Altaloma, and
It's a good
Ayala.
league.
And Ayala's mess around and be in like D2 or something. If they keep going away.
Yeah, it'll come down to you,
Like,
Charter Oak, now.
If they went out,
And
yeah.
Ayala.
Yeah, if they went out.
Some decisions to be made.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look forward to week 2, the matchups. Let's start back in the Pacific. We got Burbank versus Castaic. 1-1 Burbank versus 0-2 Castaic. 1-1 Pasadena versus 1-1 Damien. That's got to be one of the top games of the weekend. 0-2 Arcadia versus Lawndale. 0-1.
I don't know why they scheduled that game.
Yeah, that Lawndale is.
It's a big.
Lawndale has usually a huge line, and they've usually got a lot of quick guys running behind them. I don't know what. Arcadia should have scheduled in another sport.
Yeah. West Ranch lost to them in the playoffs last year. I was talking to their coach, and he was like, our kids were not ready for that team.
They had,
like, we drove down to Lawndale, he's like, Foot Hill League's tough, but that Lawndale team was different.
Yeah, their starting quarterback is
like last year.
Our starting quarterback this week, pretty much. So that's who our backup was.
Oh, okay.
He was a transfer from Lawndale, who started for them last year. So I'm not sure what the quarterback's position is over there.
0-1 CV versus West Covina. 1-0 Burroughs versus St. Genevieve. I think they're 2-0. And 0-2 Muir versus Banning.
Oh,
That's interesting.
That's St. Jen's game.
Is that LA City section Banning or
St. Jen's versus Burroughs?
Yeah, that's interesting.
I know nothing about St. John's this year.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to
And
see.
we got them, week 5?
Yeah, so I'm intrigued to see how they look. Because I know they lost to North, I think. I know nothing about North, so I don't know. I know they had a ton of seniors last year. That St. John's team last year was loaded.
Well, St. John lost their running back, too.
Their running back was
Yeah.
That dude was...
I mean, they lost to Chino Hills, I think, was it D3 playoffs or D4, and like a tight game. Like, that team was
he ended up at
good.
San Jose State, that kid, at the running back from St. Jen's. And I think was one of those kids that was like, when I first saw him, I was like, you're at St. Genevieve. you're not supposed to be this good.
that dude had, 184 yards, and it wasn't he had one carry in the second half.
Yeah, no.
He rolled against us.
I mean, they had
last year.
They had 2 or 3 last year that were him and the kid that's at Sierra Canyon now.
Yeah, one of them transferred to Sierra.
Yeah, they're good.
All right, so the Foothill League, as I said, 0-2 Castaic versus Burbank, 1-1. 2-0 Canyon versus Harvard Westlake. Harvard's 0-2. 2-0 Saugus versus 1-1 Camarillo.
Saugus and Camarillo, that sounds like a really good even matchup.
It'll be a fun one.
Saugus is playing those teams up there.
Yeah, and Camarillo, and they should. I mean, to me, based on tradition, Camarillo and Saugus. If you look at over the years, that's a good matchup.
It is. Rio Mesa rolled Camarillo last week, though.
Yeah,
really?
but Saugus beat them.
Rio Mesa.
They came back and
so
17-14.
Yeah, so it could be a good matchup. 1-1 Valencia versus 2-0 Sherman Oaks.
Notre Dame. Hey, that's
a good one.
That's a big one.
That's a good one this week.
Is that receiver okay for Valencia? I saw in the mock game he took a shot.
It's Boateng.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
He seemed like their whole offense at times against the Mott.
He's a big kid.
And then went down.
Big kid, because we scrimmaged them, and he was big.
Yeah.
0-2 Hart versus Fillmore. 1-1 Golden Valley versus Quartz Hill, who is 0-2. And 2-0 West Ranch versus Antelope Valley. They are 0-2. Antelope Valley's been outscored 92-6 in 2 games.
That's not a good thing going in
Sounds
against
like
West
three
Ranch.
and a
I
half.
think West Ranch
is going
add
to roll.
Add to that a little bit.
Yeah, that should be interesting. The Hart Fillmore. Because I'll tell you, Fillmore was a good team. I saw them against Burroughs, and Hart's struggling a little bit, and but Fillmore did not make very many mistakes. They made 1 or 2 mistakes on Burroughs at the beginning, but afterwards their coaches called a really good game. Burroughs after that first quarter only scored 3 points the rest of the game, and it was just a field goal. So yeah, Fillmore's not too bad. For a Division 9, 10, 11 level, they're a good program.
I gotta put Coach Coleman on the spot too. Any predictions?
Which game?
Castaic, Burbank.
I
always put him on, but you can say no prediction.
No, I think it's going to be a good game. We played 2 really close back and forth games, and I think Castaic's going to be the same thing. Hopefully we're healthy. Our quarterback tweaked his knee at the end of the game last week, so hopefully he's good to go. But luckily the sophomore had some experience game 1, so if he's going to step in, he's done it once already. So.
Okay, let's move on to the Rio Hondo League. 2-0 Monrovia versus El Rancho, who is 2-0. 1-1 La Cañada versus 2-0 Franklin.
Franklin was at one time a huge power. I mean, I remember back in the 90s and stuff, I believe it was our coach Armando Gonzalez. They used to run a spread, and they would just, in the city section, they would have teams that would throw for, 4,000 yards in a season, and they were, then those days are long gone, but Franklin, for a while, Franklin's rivals, Eagle Rock, and that used to be a huge rivalry game. At one time, those were two really big time.
Big time rivalry.
Franklin they've beaten Bell 32-14, and they've beaten Carson 32-14.
So Carson was a power too. And there was another city section power. The late Gene Volnagel was the coach there in the, 60s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Carson. I'll never forget one time I was looking at Carson and Banning. They're big rivals, but at one time I was looking at the New York Jets, all-time record holders, and their leading rusher all-time, Freeman McNeil, went to Banning, and Walker, was it Wesley Walker? I believe it was.
Yeah.
Went to Carson. Rival schools, and yet one of them's their all-time receptions leader, and one's their all-time leader in rushing.
1-1 San Marino versus 0-1 Rosemead. Rosemead lost by 30 to La Cañada in week 0. 2-0 South Pass versus Marshall, who's 0-2. Thursday 0-1 Polytechnic versus San Gabriel, who hasn't played a game yet.
Yeah, COVID. I think COVID took out their opponents.
1-0 Temple City versus Alhambra, who is 1-1. South Pass versus Marshall. South Pass has given up 13 points on the season on defense.
So you played in the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah.
Pretty good squad.
In the semis.
Always sneaky good at stuff. South Pass.
Yeah, is that Jeff Chee still the coach there?
I don't know.
I believe so. Jeff Chee, yeah, he coached in the 90s. He took over for a year or two at Hoover in Glendale, and then he went back to his alma mater, which is South Pass.
Yeah, that's him.
And he's been a teacher there for many, many years, and then didn't coach for a number of years, and then he just recently came back in the last few years.
I think he was at Cathedral for a while I was in the midst of being there. But I know he's at South Pass now.
Yeah, I think that's him.
What do you guys think of Monrovia and El Rancho?
What's El Rancho's record?
They're 2-0.
Where's the game at?
It's a Thursday night game. And
Is it at the Ranch?
It's at the Ranch.
Oh,
It's at the Ranch.
Oh, that's.
They always got good crowds over there. It's a tough place to play.
In my opinion, that's
Monrovia be tested.
No. No, Monrovia will win that game.
Yeah.
But El Rancho's good. They might put up a fight for a little while. Maybe second half Monrovia.
I don't think they have the new field yet. I know El Rancho is planning on having what Manny has over here. If I remember correctly, I think they're getting blue turf at some point.
Oh.
They got good food.
Yeah.
El Rancho has good food.
Oh, I can imagine that.
Rancho played them in that playoff game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then their players and coaches were
That was my first year.
talking a little bit.
Well, I know their coach, who was their defensive coordinator at the time. He's like, "Yeah, we were gonna win that game." I'm like, "We beat you with a bunch of." I'm like, "We beat you with a bunch of sophomores."
Yeah. They were good that year too.
Oh, they were good.
They ran through that league that year.
They did.
Okay, let's get to the Mission League. 0-2 Sierra Canyon versus Green Valley. 0-1. I think that's
Vegas, right?
Vegas.
Vegas. Yeah, I think so. 2-0 Bishop Amont versus St. John Bosco.
Ooh.
At Bishop. You think they got a chance?
I think Amont would put up a better fight than Allen, Texas did. That's for sure.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you see the stadium and all that crowd over there? That's insane.
It's
yeah,
crazy.
but Bosco, what they 52, what?
Yeah, and it was
10,
52 early
14
in the game
or
too,
something.
right?
Yeah.
They took the foot off the gas.
The game being at Amont
Could be a factor.
has an advantage,
A little
I think,
bit.
for Amont. There's something about that place that
Real grass.
it's grass.
Yeah.
If you're on the other team, you don't have a booth. You're literally in the stands, and the fans are pretty much on top of you. I would say. In the end zone, they got their little fan section. It's
Weren't they voted the #1 fan
Yeah,
section.
I think so. Yeah.
And
Yeah, they're
one of those guys had a.
Oh, I
list
mean,
of-
They take
it's
pride in that.
legendary.
Yeah.
They tailgate for these games
Yeah.
starting like at 10 in the morning.
down the
and
street, like they take
on
it
the
because they're not
street,
allowed
yeah.
to do it on campus.
Yeah,
so
oh yeah.
They
I
park
mean,
down the
I
street
think
and
the
tailgate.
bus has to come
awesome.
right through
That
the
is
whole
awesome.
thing. So it's a pretty cool experience. But
Well, I'm sure they'll be
That's a-
tailgating this
yeah,
weekend.
That's
I'm sure.
That's a tall task.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a tall task.
But I mean, yeah, if they can, I think they'd be happy. I mean, of course, obviously they'd want to win. I mean, not speaking for any of their coaches, they all want to win. But if privately, they have to be like, dude, let's just hang with them. If we can
Well,
at least
I'm
hang
sure
with them.
everyone
not-
here should
not
be
get-
work for
not get
should be
pushed
rooting
around,
for
right?
Bishop.
Yeah, absolutely.
To
yeah,
win.
I'm rooting for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, 0-2 Sarah at 2-0 Cathedral.
Oof.
Didn't think Sarah would be 2-0.
I've seen some tape on the Cathedral stuff, but I think Sarah just playing at a different level.
Is
It's a big-
it a shock that they're 0-2 too?
Teams they played, I don't think so.
No.
When you only lose by 2 touchdowns to Long Beach, probably you're not that bad.
Yeah. 2-0 Sherman Oaks Notre Dame versus Valencia 1-1, and the big one 2-0 Chaminade versus 0-2 Birmingham. Birmingham's lost to Royal and Notre Dame.
Royal, as in Simi Valley Royal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
That was
Any,
their first
uh,
game, I believe.
Any predictions?
Predictions, we're just going to play hard and have a good week of practice.
I'll say it for coach. They're 3-0.
I think Chaminade will take care of business too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he didn't want to make your predictions last week, but me and Brew said, all right, we'll roll with Chaminade, and they pulled it. So, I also want to mention 1-1 St. Francis versus Milliken. They're 1-1. They lost to Cathedral. Milliken.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Milliken didn't pass the eye test that I didn't. I mean, going on the hype that they had going into the season, I was not impressed with what I saw, at least on clips of their game. So
St. Francis going to get a stop this week?
That'd be another
Another
shootout.
shootout.
Yeah, I mean, their quarterback had 5, but yeah, it's another shootout.
Yeah, they really need to clean
5
that up. I mean,
touchdowns.
you
Yeah.
would think St. Francis really
I mean,
needs
that's
to
a
clean
tough
that up.
league if they
Yeah.
can't get
Yeah, they
stops.
haven't stopped anybody. I mean, obviously St. Paul's going to be their main dudes, but which is the one I'm talking about. 2-0 St. Paul versus St. Pius, who's 2-0.
That's
They
gonna be a
beat
good
Mir
game.
last week 35-0.
That's going to be a real good
That'll be
game.
a real tough test for St. Paul.
Yeah.
That'd be a good game.
St. Paul has outscored their opponent 72-21. It's coming down to the St. Francis St. Paul. It's going to be a nice little battle in the middle of the season there.
Who's St. Paul? I don't. It's not the toughest competition they faced yet, is it?
They play West Ranch next week, I
They
think.
do?
I
Wow.
think
They
it's
will,
next
yeah.
week.
Oh wow!
Next week or 2 weeks.
So they have Pius and then
Next-
West Ranch.
Yeah, I think so. It might be one in between there, but and the last one I want to mention is 2-0 Village Christian versus Canoga Park, who is 0-2. Canoga Park has been outscored 77-13 in the first 2 games.
yeah, Village Rose do that.
I think Village Coach Brew will add to that.
Yes.
Outscore.
I like Coach Brew. He was great on the podcast.
Yeah, that's a good guy.
About our league, you don't really care about us.
Mount Baldy. Who do you have?
Lose the Brew and then.
Who do you have? Well, let's talk about that.
No.
Can we get to the Mount Baldy League?
Mount Baldy for it, yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know who the teams play.
Who do you guys got this
Who do you
week?
have this week?
We got Pomona.
That's right.
So what's the prediction? I mean, what's Pomona got?
Young
that you know
team,
of.
young athletes, man. They got a good quarterback, really athletic, a good couple receivers that's really fast, running back that's nice vision. They do a good job. They beat us last year, so it's going to be at Pomona, so it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game.
How's the spirit of the team after losing to Village?
Village was a good team. I mean, we all knew. Well, at least I knew going into it. Brew has a good team. I mean, as usual, but it was a play-up game for us. You know, usually we start off with a regular game, but I figured why not? And I look at it like this: going to work the next day. You know, being a PE teacher, a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, you guys lost. What happened?" You know, the score, this and that. I'm like, well, let's relax a little bit. You know, we're still Montclair trying to get our feet wet. You know, just because we, you know, made it where we made it last year doesn't mean anything. It's a whole new team, a whole new now. But that means the mindset's changed. You
Yeah,
know,
expectations are high.
Yeah.
Expectations are high. The kids were disappointed. You know, they look back at that and they're like, they were a good team. So they're like, they expect that kind of competition from here on out. So it's kind of going to help us in the long run. So, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. You want them disappointed. You want them like, hey, we should have won that game. It was 12-7 at halftime. It just
it was a close game at halftime. What happened after halftime that
I think, to me, I feel like we came out and they returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I think that was...
It's a big dagger.
But, I mean, if you look at the film, we dropped a wide open touchdown that was like a 50-yard pass that a receiver dropped at like the 5. So, and then we had another wide open touchdown that would have been about a 30-yard yak catch if he would have caught it, but he stopped running. So we gave up 2 points in that first, or 2 touchdowns in that first half that would have changed the game wide open, 100%.
Yeah, those are kind of plays that like kids don't realize, that you have to make.
Yeah,
it leaves a mark later in the game.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Yeah. But I mean, we're moving forward. So we had that bye, and I purposely had a bye after that game because I knew it was going to be a tough game, and now we just got 9 straight.
Injury-wise, you guys good?
We are better now. We had a little banged up after the game, but having this bye week, we were good. The kids want to work hard. We were going to have the day off on Thursday. They wanted extra practice, so we changed it up and had practice on Thursday. So, it was because of them. So we had a little team bonding paintball this Saturday. So I think we're ready to get going. It's going to be a good game.
Okay. Coach Coleman, what about Burbank injury-wise?
Just the quarterback, the knee. I think he's going to be fine. Just got to do his rehab during the week. We'll see. Besides that, pretty healthy. Knock on wood, get this COVID over with. But.
Yeah. Chaminade? Any lose anybody in the big game?
I think the quarterback just is back, so it's kind of day-to-day. And then we lost a couple kids during the JV game, so those guys are backups on varsity. So now we got to just find the next guy and roll with him.
How'd Charter Oak fare out?
As far as I know, they came out injury-free.
Oh, that's good. All right, well, good luck to all you guys this weekend. Have good weeks of practice, and I want to move on to my player of the week. There's many guys. There's Richie Munoz from Charter Oak. There's Jacobs from Jack Jacobs from St. Francis. He threw 5. But I am going to roll with the running back from Norwalk.
You talked about him earlier.
219 yards rushing, 5 TDs. He had a 59-yard kickoff return. And he had an interception on defense that turned the game. But he also, right after he picked it off, 2 plays later, 63-yard touchdown to seal the win.
Jeez.
So that's why I rolled with him.
Yeah.
I like it when players, he affected offense, he affected defense, he affected the special teams. Made plays on all, and he pulled through. And that's who my player of the week is, running back Michael Mueller from Norwalk.
I have to give an honorable mention to Northview's running back, Tabal, who we talked about.
Yeah, I do. I mentioned him, and I thought he did. But I mentioned Polytechnic earlier in the show. I don't know if you guys heard about this guy. He's my top performer for the last 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of high school football here. They played. The team from San Diego played a team called Francis Parker, and they played Polytech, and they beat them 52-27. They are going to play Campbell Hall on the 17th of September. His name is Christopher Williams. He rushed for. This is against Poly. He rushed for. He had TDs of 10, 45, and 25. He had an interception of 62 yards, a pick 6. That was halftime. Okay. Then he came out in the second half, and he rushed for 27-yard touchdown, had another interception, rushed for a 27-yard TD, a 23-yard touchdown, and then he kicked a 28-yard field goal. This is the tip. He is the kicker on the team. He scored all 52 points.
Jesus.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's big. Close to our record, man.
I know. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So I'm like, all right, what did he come back in week 1? What did he do? So they lost the game 37-28, but he came out in week 2. He had a 44-yard reception for a touchdown. He had a 72-yard TD run. He had a 28-yard touchdown run. And then he threw a 43-yard touchdown pass.
Jeez.
Then he converted the 2-point conversion. He had his hand in scoring all the points in this first game. 28 points. They lost 37-28. So he's had a hand or have scored every point in their first 2 games. I don't know how many he rushed for in the second game, but in the first game, he had 12 carries for 259 yards, and he had 436 all-purpose yards in the first game. Jesus. I don't think I've ever.
Record, yeah.
I don't even think I've ever.
Is he a senior or what? Do we know
I don't know. They're going to play Campbell Hall on Saturday,
Classified.
but it's in San Diego. I would have wanted
This is
to watch.
Pasadena Poly?
No, it's Francis Parker.
Francis Parker, okay, they're in San Diego, right?
They're a San Diego team. I just thought I would. I don't think I've ever seen a guy score every point for the first 2 games.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or account for all the points. So
See if we can keep it
Christopher Williams is his name.
See if we can keep it going. That'd
Keep
be cool.
rolling, dude. Keep rolling. So that's. I wanted to bring him up. That's our player of the week, and I just wanted to thank you guys for showing up. And good luck to Chaminade. Good luck to Charter Oak. Good luck to Montclair. Good luck to Burbank, of course. Thanks for showing, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob, alright.
With Buckeye Rob.
Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob, alright.
With Buckeye Rob.
Coach Lemus, can you chalk out that play?
Yeah, so in the second half, I was like, you know what, let's run Buzz, which is pretty much what Saban runs at Alabama. It's Rip Liz. So this guy, that's his run gap. This Rover's a run fit guy. And that takes him to the flats. He goes there. We just rotate the coverage. So if 2 goes out now, he drives. If 2 goes in now, he just settles and looks for 1 coming in. Right, but 2 going vert, that Rover like rerouted them, and I was watching their coordinator on the other side, and he was like, "Oh shit! What the hell just happened?" And we weren't expecting that Rover to drive, but
Well, who picks up the cross guy?
the cross guy goes to the backside linebacker because we don't care about that at that point.
Yeah.
But it's a funky coverage that we barely. I mean, it's our 3rd week doing it with the weak side guy. Before it was our field side guy. Now it's taking on a whole different thing. It's like the stack. It's like you find something out in the stack you could do, and then a couple weeks pass by and you're like, oh, we could do this out of it now. So
What is this coverage called?
that's just what we call that Texas Buzz. So it's cover 3, but with the safety taking the hook on the weak side, and he's got B gap because the wheel's bailing out. So it looks like cover 2, but he's just going. He's out.
Yeah.
No reroute. Like he's gone. So that's.
You said you got that. That's a version of you got from Saban.
This is a little version of Saban, and a little bit more Pete Carroll, Seahawks. Just the Seahawks are pressing their corner, so we're not pressing yet. But that to me is like the game changer. I think. There's a lot of people. I mean, you probably look at it from an offensive point of view. You don't know where that 6th guy in the box is in the run game, so you kind of a safety 10 yards deep. You'll never see him
accounting for him.
Yeah. So.